Hey guys, Problem1701 here, and today we're going to talk about Doctor Who. Surprise, surprise. And my question is, do you still watch Doctor Who? And if you don't, when did you stop? What was the moment where you were like, I can't do this anymore? Because I know there are a lot of longtime fans who have left the show, or even fans who joined during the modern series, who I guess at this point are also longtime fans who've left the show. And then there's some of us who still watch. I still watch the show. Let me be clear. I watched all of Series 11. I watched all of Series 12. I've seen every episode of Modern Who. And, I'm still working on Classic, even though I grew up with Classic. You guys know I'm a lifelong Doctor Who fan since I was 3 or 4 years old. It was really hard to watch Doctor Who in the 80s in the States. It wasn't like now where you just had readily had access to everything. But I still watch it for multiple reasons. One, I don't hate the show like some people do. I don't think it's as good as it used to be, but I don't hate it. Plus, I like being able to have valid opinions on it. I don't want to judge something especially Doctor Who, having not seen it. So I like watching it just so I can have a valid opinion to share with you guys and interact with you guys. But I still enjoy watching it as well. I do think the series is not as popular. I don't think that's the Whittaker era's fault necessarily. The Whittaker era, I've talked before, I do think is the weakest in Doctor Who. I think Series 11 is the weakest series in Doctor Who. I think Series 12 is underrated, even though it has a terrible finale. But I really noticed the decline during the Capaldi run. That's not to say that's where it started. As I mentioned in my Series 6 video when I ranked Series 6 recently, I think Series 6 is really where Doctor Who kind of started to fall off in terms of quality and writing. I think Series 6 is a very mixed bag. I think Series 7 is not well thought of by the fandom. The fandom seems to largely not care for Series 7. I personally like most of Series 7B, but that's my thoughts on it. I don't like all of it. Journey to the Center of the TARDIS is awful. One of the episodes I'd rather just not ever watch again. I think it's garbage. But most of the series I like. But by and large, I know the fandom doesn't seem too thrilled with it. Series 8 is hit or miss, although it's grown on me. Series 9, I personally think is mostly garbage. I think the only thing saving Series 9 is Heaven Sent, which is amazing, and I like the Before the Flood two-parter. It's really good. I like it a lot. I think most of the rest of that season is just bad or garbage. I hate Face the Raven, other than the fact Clara dies, which is awesome, and the Doctor's speech at the end of it's good, but just most of that story doesn't work, and having What's-Her-Name Williams from Game of Thrones doesn't. I don't care. I don't watch Game of Thrones. I wasn't invested. I don't like either of those stories. Even though they have a couple good moments in them, I don't like those stories. I didn't care for Series 9. I thought Series 10 was good. I liked that version of Capaldi. Thought it was pretty consistent. Pretty consistently good. Extremist three-parter wasn't so great. Eaters of Light wasn't so great, which is disappointing because that's the only person who's written for Modern Who that also wrote for Classic Who. So I was expecting more from that story and didn't get it. And while I think Series 10 is the most consistently good one since Series 5, I think it was too little too late. Because that's really when I noticed the fall off here in the States, is between 2014 and 2017. Because I did a lot of conning. Like, I went to a lot of conventions dressed up as various characters. Really from around 2008 to about 2014. I went to a lot of anime conventions, multiple conventions a year. I dressed up in character. I did like Ryoga from Ranma 1/2. I did a Hunter Zombie from Left 4 Dead that was absolutely really phenomenal. I got a lot of compliments on that. People actually remembered me next year when I went back as somebody else. They were like, oh, you're that badass Hunter from last year. Really made my day. That was a lot of fun. I'm trying to remember, I dressed as one of the characters from the Melancholy of Haruki Suzumiya. We did, I'm trying to remember. I don't actually remember everything I cosplayed as back then. But my last year or two, I was mostly just doing doctors. I did the 10th Doctor and the 9th Doctor. And people really liked when I did the 9th Doctor because there weren't a lot of 9th Doctors. My point is, for all of that, is that There were still a lot of Doctor Who cosplays at this time during 2012, 2013, 2014. Whenever I cosplayed as the Doctor, I was always running into other Doctors. Again, that's why people liked me doing the Ninth Doctors, because you had 10th Doctors and 11th Doctors and 4th Doctors a lot too, everywhere. But there weren't a lot of Ninth Doctors, so people liked that when we did a lot of pictures. Also around that time, you saw a lot of people wearing Doctor Who shirts. You never forget your first Doctor, or pictures of the TARDIS, Sonic Screwdriver. What's that one that Don't Panic, I'm the Doctor, or whatever it was that was on all of those, Don't Panic something or another's. There were a lot of Doctor Who shirts I saw, and a lot of people had Doctor Who like TARDIS cases on their phone. My old phone, the one I had before this one, I had an iPhone 4 forever and a day. I had a TARDIS cover on it. I have a Thundercats cover on my current one. And I never see that now. And I think by 2017, I wasn't seeing that as much. I do think the Capaldi era is where the show really started losing its popularity. It's when I noticed I wasn't seeing entire sections of a store dedicated to Doctor Who material. I can remember like Books A Million and Barnes and Noble and stuff having devoted sections for Doctor Who merchandise. Not just like DVDs, but like Sonic Screwdrivers, plushies, books, like entire sections and displays. Whereas by 2017, I didn't see that as much, and now in 2021, I see it even less. Like Barnes & Noble still has a smaller, much smaller DVD Blu-ray section. I mean, they used to have its own section. Like there's the British section, and at the end of that was the Doctor Who stuff. Now it's all just a smaller section. I got to where I was seeing even the classic DVD range showing up at Walmart, which blew my mind. That's actually where I got my copy of Colony in Space. I remember getting that. And we also got where a couple of my box sets from, and you don't really see that now. Like you'd see some of the modern stuff in Walmart, but not like classic Doctor Who DVDs showing up in Walmart. That boggled my mind. But those have scaled back. You don't really see that anymore. And I think part of it might have been, honestly, I think a lot of the female fandom liked their hot doctors. I'm not saying all of them, don't jump on me, but I do think there was a certain part of the female fandom. They had a thing for Tennant. They had a crush on Tennant. He was the young, hot, awesome doctor, energetic doctor. And then Matt Smith came along, and after they adjusted to him, he was another, even younger, also hot, young doctor that they could really like. And then you get Capaldi, who is a very much older doctor. And not only that, Series 8 Capaldi is so much different than Tennant and Smith. Like, way different. Like, they purposely went a different direction to do something different with his character. He's so much darker. Am I a good man, and brooding, and not as caring on the surface with his little cards to go through. She cares, and so I don't have to. Capaldi is such a drastic departure, not just physically, but his doctor's personality and the way he reacts to things is such a drastic departure from what these younger people had grown up with, especially with Tennant and Smith. I think that put a lot of them off. I remember going to see Deep Breath in theaters. I was on a date, actually. Me and a girl I'd met. That was our first date, actually. We went to see Deep Breath. And the theater was pretty well packed. And then when I went to see like Genesis of the Daleks when it was showing, and again maybe it was less because it was Classic Who, the theater, there's still a few people in it, but it wasn't nearly as packed. Again, could have been just because it was Classic Who, not as many Classic fans as modern fans at that younger age maybe. But yeah, I think that's right around when Doctor Who died, somewhere between 24 and 2017. And I don't mean like completely died, but the popularity it went from being like mainstream, you could talk to anybody about it, back to this kind of nerdy niche thing to where you meet people and they've heard of it, they don't really know it, and you kind of feel like they're judging you because you like it. Whereas, I used to be able to talk to Doctor Who. I could run up to a 25-year-old woman, talk to Doctor Who the same way you could talk about Game of Thrones until a year or two ago. Game of Thrones kind of became that mainstream thing that everybody watched. It wasn't just a niche audience. Doctor Who seemed like it became like that for a while, but it's kind of gotten back to that niche thing, I feel, at this point. So, yeah, that's basically that. Do you still watch Doctor Who? And if not, I'd like to know where you stopped. What finally made you throw in the towel on it? and what you think of my video. Again, I think the Whitaker era has taken it even further downhill. Let me say, though, I do think Series 12 is one of the most consistently good series since Series 5. Because I actually like most of Series 12. It's just really the series finale is so awful for a multitude of reasons. And then Orphan 55 is bad. And I think there's one other one in there I didn't like that I can't really put my finger on at the moment. But most of Series 12 I liked. After Series 5, I think the most consistently good ones were Series 10 and Series 12. Sorry. So let me know what you think. Comment down below. I always enjoy hearing from you guys. I have 2 polls open on my Patreon right now that are open to the public. They're voting on doctors that I will be doing review on. One is a runoff for the classic series. The other poll is a vote for modern series doctors, which one I'll be doing a review on. So anybody should be allowed to vote in those. So a link to my Patreon is in the description below. So click on that, check that out. Go ahead and cast a vote. And also click the like button, click the subscribe button, click the bell for notifications. I am trying to reach 1,000 subscribers because it opens up so many options I can use. Like I can make comments, I can post pictures, I can do a lot to help grow the community when I hit 1,000. So I'm really trying to do that. So if you like my channel and you watch my channel a lot, haven't quite yet subscribed, go ahead and click that subscribe button for me. That really helps me out, helps me grow the channel. YouTube likes seeing a channel growing constantly, helps me out helps me beat the almighty algorithm. Most importantly though, stay safe out there, and thank you for watching.